Alright, welcome back. I swear the time just goes too quick when I try to do stuff. So, I'm trying to get some stuff done today, and I have yet to get really anything done. And it's like 3 or 4 o'clock, something like that, I don't know. I spent a little time this morning working out the light controller. It wasn't doing like it was supposed to be, and I finally figured it out. So the light controller will work by itself, but to run the slime lights, or the formation lights, whatever you want to call them on these things, we always call them slime lights, but they're formation lights really. You have to use the harness they send you, and I've showed you that in the past, but it's just weird because it had 2 connections on it, and one went to the light controller and then one goes to your receiver. So I'm like, well, what the heck is, the extra thing for? Is it a power? Because it also tied straight into the battery. So I didn't know what it was doing, because why do you need 2 leads going, one to the light controller and then one going to your receiver? Because I don't understand what the one going to the light controller is doing. Because the battery that you plug in has a lead that goes to the harness and to the controller. I don't understand their thoughts process. I don't know why they have such trouble with light controllers. They've had a million of them. But I'll keep playing with it. But it looks like I still have to put a damn switch in between the battery lead and the slime lights. You can turn the controller off, kinda, when you power your receiver off. It just goes into a state of flashing, but it still has power to the unit, which is what bugs me. The lights don't stay on like they used to because you need signal now, but instead of putting a logic in there to shut the power off to the unit, you still have power going to it, so it'll run your battery down. So I'm guessing I'm gonna put a switch that kind of goes, I'm just going to put it between the battery and the harness, in the harness, because the harness ties into both. So if I put the switch between where the battery plugs into the harness and the slime light, it will just turn off one. So I'm going to put the switch in between the harness and the battery. That way when I flip the switch, it shuts power off to both. Even though the lights are not staying on, you still have power to that controller, because the state light will flash, which is basically saying, hey, I'm powered up, but I have no signal. And I guess that was their fix, other than coming up with a way to like make it power off and not provide any power. They just made it where, well, you got to have battery power and receiver signal. So fast forwarding now to the turbines, I wanted to go ahead and set up telemetry to get both motors on telemetry. And it looks like you still have to do the setup in the telemetry adapter here. Let me show you. So these are the Zycoid telemetry adapters. There's one is for Spectrum. The Spectrum one works by itself, doesn't work with any other radio, but the Jetty, this one works with Jetty, Futaba, Powerbox, Fry Sky, and Jetty, I think. And Jetty, if I said that, Jetty, but it's Futaba. So it has the traditional 3-wire versus the one for the Spectrum that has a little bitty white square. But the X45, from what I understand, has an auto detect. You don't have to go in and set these up anymore, but it's not doing that. I guess that's just a 45 function, and they haven't done that to the other turbines. Because best I can tell, I still had to go in, and when I hooked up so what you do is you take a Y harness. Where'd my Y harness go? Crap, it was just right here. I don't even see my hand controller. Where's my hand controller at? Alright, I'm missing something here. Give me just a second, let me find it. Here we go. Okay. So you take your Y harness, you've got your little display unit that comes with the light version, or if you have something else. Plug lead, the 3-wire lead, into one side of the wire harness, and then just a battery into the other. So it powers up this, and hold on, there it goes. Okay, it just takes a second to read. So it's going to be hard to see. There's no way for me really to show you guys this, but see, it powers up and defaults to Jetty. So first thing I got to do, since I am not Jetty, I'm Futaba, I'm going to select plus. It's going to multiplex, Futaba. Okay, so now it's a Futaba. And then the next thing is your tank capacity. Each tank's about 200 milliliters, 2,000 milliliters. So with the tank plus half of, I'm just kind of calculating half of the center tank. I'm just going to boost it up to 3,000 milliliters. I could be way off on this, but I'm just playing around right now. Yeah, and then the next one is your pump factor, and this is what essentially is, once you know your tanks, you're really only ever going to adjust this, and that's what the Futaba or the X45 I thought has built into it. It auto adjusts. You don't really have to adjust this anymore because technically, if you know fuel flow and how much it's burning, you really shouldn't have doing this stuff anymore. But I think on the bigger motors you do. So I just leave it at the pump factor 400 because that works for most. And this is what you're going to tweak up and down if you go fly for a few minutes and it says, hey, you're at 75%, you land, and you're actually at 50%, then you adjust this value to make it, to calibrate it. Then next one over, and then the sensor slot. The last one I had it on 8 or 1. I'm going to leave this one on 8, I think. And then this is your telemetry slot. Next, and then it asks you if you want to save it. If you don't save it, it's going to revert back. And then it says data saved, and then you power down. So let me unplug here. Alright, so now you can technically ditch the hand terminal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my receiver. This is the one engine I just did. So I'm gonna. That's the thing about these new receivers. You can have multiple S-Bus 2 ports. So I'm hoping that the 4 is active. I don't know which one of these are all going to be active. It depends on which mode you're into. So I'm going to put it in this port and see if it will actually register on channel 4, which is also an S-Bus 2. And then you plug in your telemetry adapter into the data terminal side of your hub for the motor. Sorry, it's hard to see. There you go. There you go. So I'm using the compact hub. All right, let me power up the radio. So go to your linkage menu, and then it's going to be impossible for me to show you. You almost need something right on your head, like a hat clip or a headband. Page over to your sensors. See, and I already did the last one. I selected, when you select the JetCap V40 or V10, it will take up the first however many slots it's going to take up. It takes up like 14 slots, which sucks because I'm obviously going to have to go back into that second telemetry adapter and go to the first available, which is slot 15. So 8's not going to work. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to inhibit this one, yes, and then I'm going to go to 8, which is the slot that I put in the adapter. I'm going to select V10, JetCat V10. And then it populates those things. All right, so now when I power up the receiver, if that port is actually a telemetry port, it should read. The last time it connected really fast, so let's see how this one goes. So just powering up the receiver. Telemetry adapter's coming on. It's got some little flashy lights. Let me back out of here. Go to telemetry, it's connected, it's not connecting there. So that tells me that channel 4 is not, in this mode, is not a telemetry port. So I'm just going to plug it into this other port that I know is S bus 2. So plug it in. It's going to power up. Oh, and it connected right off the bat. So now you can see. Now you've got a temperature. It's all in Celsius. This is one of my one complaint about Futaba. You should be able to go in here and change these damn. Oh, well, maybe you can. Hold on. Did they change that? No, it's still Celsius. Boo. So that's my complaint. You know, being able to change Celsius to Fahrenheit. But anyways, so you go back there and you've got, that's your JetCat. This altitude, it says I'm 234 meters. Fuel, there's your fuel stuff. And then if you page over, it's showing 3100, that's what I put in. So that's your fuel consumed, or fuel quantity essentially. And that's what you can set timers off of. Battery voltage. So, and then if you want to get those specific things on your home screen, so now what I would do is on my home screen, I select this and then I go here and select what I want. So I'm going to say, we're going to go to slot 8 because that was the actual telemetry slot. So there it is. And then you can select, you can do this for all. You go to 8 for all of them. Alright, so they all say JetCat V10 and they're all saying RPM. So this box over here is what will display on the 3 that you can have displayed. So I'm going to do RPM for one, leave that one. This one I'm going to do temperature, and then this one I'm going to go to, you can do pump, there's fuel consumed, fuel flow, altitude, fuel quantity. So that's what it's going to display on the home screen. RPM, temperature, fuel quantity with your timers. So now you're going to see them right there. Bing, bang, boom. So let's do this. See, it's reading the RPMs there. Bam. So active telemetry. So, alright. So that's how you set up the telemetry on these things. You can have as many telemetry, like I have a guy that was doing a X1, XB1, I forget what it's called, but it's got like 6 X45s in it, and he wanted telemetry on all 6 motors. Well, as long as you have different unique IDs in these, you can put as many as you want. So we kept having to, I would get a few telemetry, because you can have 2 different ones in here, but you got to get different numbers, and they're generated when they're made. So we had to go a little while getting a couple different batches in before I could get enough different unique IDs so it would run. It's usually not a factor. I think it's like if you got more than like 2, you've got to do what we did, because they take into account having twins. So, but that just tells me I need to, because this is right now, I believe default mode has channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 normal channels, and then 6 is the only active S bus 2 channel. So if I go to like D, mode D, I think it activates all these S bus 2 ports, so you're using it more like a serial mode at that point versus a traditional type. So I do have to do that. But so that's it. I'm going to disconnect all this crap. I'm going to the hubs are going to be a little further up, so I'm probably going to get, I might step up, I'm going to unplug this, I might step up on the ECU lead to a longer lead to get the hub closer. That way I don't have as long of a pump lead, but right now the leads that I have are pretty good. I've just got to make longer throttle leads. So, and its throttle lead is really just a signal and some power to the actual hub. The turbine power comes from you know, the actual battery on it. So it's really just to kind of power the hub a little bit and things, or the actual data port, the GCU or the telemetry. So, but then again, it may all come just from the ECU battery. I don't know. But so that's what I'm going to do. Get that done. I'm hooking up the lights right now, and I'm going to remount the light controller. So I'm kind of in the final stages of just setting it up. I did put a wing on and checked the wing lights, make sure they work as well. Something I'm not sure on, and I'm gonna look up, is if the F-22 has any strobes. Like there's a red and green, which are typically position lights on the wingtips. There's one on top, one on bottom, and they're the same color on each side of the wing. So I got 2 reds, 2 greens, and I can make either one of those. Either I can make them both come on solid, add like a position, or I can have one strobe and the other one a position, or both strobe. I just don't know. I've never seen any of the lights on the F-22, so I gotta look that up, because I may make the top like a position and the bottom strobe or something like that. So that's really the only lights that this thing's got on. It's got 2 on the nose wheel that come on and off when you flip the gear switch, and then you got the slime lights, 2 on the nose, 2 on the rudders, 1 on each wing, so 2, 4, 6 slime lights, and then the only other lights are those 4 position lights. So very minimal, but ooh, long video. So I'm gonna do these few things and then maybe do another update video this evening. But you guys have a good one. Let me know if you know anything about the F-22 lighting.